Jake Dulln is a traveling folk artist who has recently adopted Jackson as his home base. Much of his music deals with his life on the road. Though originally from Maryland, he's been touring the country for the past 2 years, largely fueled by gigs in Colorado, California, West Virginia, and here in Wyoming. Dulln wears his heart on his sleeve with deeply felt lyrics and a strumming guitar. He also plays the harmonica. Heavily influenced by Bob Dylan, his songs draw on impulse and intuition. Jake is currently working on his third independent folk album and released the single Lowlands on November 25th. In advance of his recent gig at the Silver Dollar Showroom, Jake Dulln joined us in the KHOL studio. So where did your passion for music come from?
I just love it. Ever since I first picked up a guitar, my cousin was playing, and I was like probably 12 years old. I think I got a guitar for Christmas that year, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can play these chords and sing these songs and sound like other musicians that I was listening to.
That world just kind of opened up, realizing what you could do with it.
Yeah, and it never really closed.
So you spend a bulk of your life on the road. What are some of the challenges of that lifestyle?
The obvious things, where you're going to sleep, drinking water is important, filling up your water, gas stations, stuff like that, food, money. You can't really ever relax when you're on the road.
How do those work their way into your music?
Yeah, you definitely feel that. At least when I'm writing and hopefully when you're listening, because it's very lonely, I guess is the word. So you can kind of get in your own zone.
So you work independently as a musician. You produce, release, and even book all of your shows yourself. Full control. What are the challenges of doing everything on your own?
It's good because I get to go wherever I want to and book wherever I want to book. And I don't have any pressure from anyone else. So it's kind of like really nice as far as the freedom involved. If I had the choice, I'd definitely, not be doing it completely by myself. But I just don't know how that's possible.
Well, the legendary Bob Dylan is a huge influence on your music. Which period of his career do you gravitate to the most?
His early period is obviously just kind of insane, just how he was able. I think Scorsese said one time that he's always able to turn a corner, take a turn musically and artistically. And it's crazy because it reflects American culture.
Been a long time since Oklahoma Station was released at the beginning of this year. You've mentioned that the title track set up the foundation of the album. Can you walk us through the creative process of that song in particular and the album as a whole?
The album, I recorded myself across the country. I think I was recorded in 3 different states. Let's see, as far as the track, I think I had like a hook or something or like a melody. The lyrics just started coming in a pattern. It was really easy to write lyrics to it, so I wrote like tons of lyrics to it. Once I did that, that was something like I want to definitely release that. That one was kind of like the one that kind of stuck everything to the wall, I guess.
Did you have the other songs written and then they kind of like made more sense once they were coupled with that song?
So I recorded it like multiple stints, and because I have like, mobile stuff.
And you recorded it live or?
I recorded it pretty much live, yeah. And I'll tell you, this is kind of nuts. The first 2 records were pretty much mostly my phone because I'm traveling so much. I don't have the gear. Like I don't have a professional studio. I've gone into studios before. Like I can record stuff in the studio and I have stuff in the studio and I could release this stuff from the studio, but it just doesn't have the same energy. It's supposed to be delivered a certain way, a certain song. So to go back to this album, this Been a Long Time album, the title track, once I got that, and then I think I had a couple other tracks recorded around that same period. I was in Maryland, I think, when I recorded that. When I started traveling again out in California, like the other songs came to me, how they needed to be sung. And I was able to do that because of the mobility of the recording process.
So your latest single, Lowlands, seems to touch on a personal relationship with the lyrics. I won't meet you in the lowlands no more. What you doing out here, friend? You weren't over all your things and your stuff. Passing you by no more. Can you give us the story behind that song? Is it more like moving on from a certain period of your life?
Yeah, moving on from a period, but also looking back to the period with the people you knew in that period and being like, come on, guys, like let's get after, living a little bit.
My last question is, how's the third album? How's that coming along? And is there an overall theme to it? Is Lowlands kind of working the way Been a Long Time did with the last album as far as like the centerpiece?
Honestly, Lowlands was it's of a certain caliber, like emotionally, that I don't know if I'm going to try to hit every single track because that would be exhausting. I have the rest of the record, the new record written, and it's like 9 tracks right now with Lowlands. So this song just kind of came, and it might be a good transition from the last one into this one, I guess.
When did you start that? When did you start writing it?
So I started writing it before quarantine, actually. I was just doing my own recordings. I was in Colorado, just started recording like almost like mumblings of these songs that I wanted to end up writing, and I just continued to work on, lyrically throughout the summer, and the songs have really come together.
I meet you in the lowlands, I can meet you in the lowlands, I won't meet you in the lowlands no more.
Hear music from Jake Dulln right here on KHOL during our local music hour. That airs weekdays from 3 to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit 891khol.org for more music, news, and culture. I'm Jack Catlin, and this is KHOL Jackson.
Words over all your things and your stuff, passing you by.